Whenever you're ready.
I need to make sure the recording is actually on. Yoo-hoo.
Just going to have some milk.
Got milk? Yup.
I have milk by the desk.
Okay, good stuff.
Milky.
Hey guys, Dragonheart and Rexasaur here for this week's podcast where we will be talking about licensed games.
But next week we will be talking about franchises in gaming.
So, let's start off with licensed games, and we'll start off with the biggie, which is movie licensed games.
Oh, yummy.
Now, there's a lot of games out there that are licensed, and in the olden days, back in the day, it usually was built in what movie was coming out. Things like James Bond, Spider-Man, usually superhero films and things like that, would always have a company to make a game for when the movie comes out, so that people would be like, oh my god, I really like that movie, the game must be so good. And most of the time it wasn't like that.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good topic to talk about this week. And I'm going to start off, okay? If that's
fine.
okay. I'm going to talk about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good one to start off with, because we're both big fans of the franchise.
And the general Lord of the Rings.
And the general Middle-earth Lord of the Rings and all that shiz. All that lovely shiz. So, obviously, the first one I think we should probably mention is quite a new game, and that's Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah.
That kind of ties into the whole Middle-earth thing.
Yeah.
I had mixed feelings on it, but you thought it was a pretty good game.
Yeah.
Overall, though, I have to say, and I do have to agree with what we said in one of our previous podcasts, it is a good game. And I do think, as far as a franchise goes, they took something which already exists, but they actually expanded and tied in very well to the actual lore of the Middle-earth.
I was rather happy that they didn't decide to do a Hobbit game to coincide with the movie. It wasn't, well, apart from the universe itself, it was a nice middle ground between what happens in The Hobbit and then what happens in Lord of the Rings. It was a good middle thing. Show us, what was going on during that time. So I thought it was a really nice thing that it didn't go and do a Hobbit film adaptation game, which would have been shit, to be honest.
It would have been a bit cheesy as well, I think. Yeah. And most games that do a direct kind of game that's out just before the film is out or to coincide with the release of a film always tend to be a bit shit.
Yeah, that's true. There are only a few games, I think, that have ever managed to pull it off. And one of these for me is another Lord of the Rings game, Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King by EA.
I never played it.
It was one of the best Lord of the Rings games out there. It was so good. It didn't have it didn't have a lot of levels, but they lasted quite a while for a game that could fit on a PS2. And it had a really nice RPG element to it, because you could level up your characters and give them these new abilities and new combos that you could do. And there'd be like horde modes, and you can like destroy loads of shit. It was so good, and it tied in really well with the movies. Because like the Return of the King's a lot of battles, so that's already good. But even it didn't spend that long on certain passages. Like the Battle of Pelennor Fields in the film took like half an hour of the actual movie, but in the game they only had it for like one level and you do everything in that one level. You climb the Mumakil, you kill the Witch King, you do everything. It was brilliant.
Wow.
It was so good.
When was this released? Was this released
2000
back
when... Well, it was released when Return of the King was
released.
It
was released when the film was out.
2005, maybe 2006. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I bet that would be a very good game to be released in HD, like a remake.
I know, yes, definitely. I'm surprised EA hasn't done it yet, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd play that if it was remastered.
Yeah, I've actually got 3 copies of the game. I've got one for PS2 and 2 for PC, one in French and one in English.
Do you know when you said that then? I had an image of, the Homer Simpson thing when he goes, nerd!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't give two shits, because I love that game. It's one of my has to be one of my favorite old games, to be honest. It's such a good game, and I think that's at the top of how good movie licenses can be, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because there are some that are absolutely terrible. Very recently, you can look, if you've ever seen any gameplay of the recent Amazing Spider-Man 2, published by Activision.
Yeah, I've never played it.
No, me neither, but I have seen quite a lot of footage of it, just because it is so fucking terrible. It's
Yeah,
so
I
bad.
did hear a few rumors that it was a bit shit, but to be honest with you, Spider-Man, as far as comics and that type of superhero thing goes, Spider-Man isn't really my cup of tea. I'm
Yeah,
more of a Batman
more of a
person.
Batman. Yeah, but it's the kind of strange thing because Spider-Man. There was some amazing Spider. I just did a really shitty
Cool.
joke once. There was some really good Spider-Man games, such as the Amazing Spider-Man. Um, the not the Amazing Spider-Man. What was it? Ultimate Spider-Man. Oh, there's so many different Spider-Man universes. Anyway.
Yeah, it's just
But there were some really good games that were like open world, pure open world, where you could do literally anything. There was one where it was I think it was called the Ultimate Spider-Man, where you could play either as Spider-Man or as Venom.
yeah, I can remember that. I think
Yeah, and you could, like as
actually,
Venom, you could
yeah,
just go around eating people because you had to go around eating people, or you die because you lose health over time if you don't. And that is like amazing license right there, use. And then you have pieces of shit like that, like Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is very linear. The story is almost non-existent. There are glitches everywhere, and
yeah.
it's basically just shovelware. It's pretty terrible.
You know the Spider-Man game that had Venom in it? Was that released on PlayStation 2?
Yeah.
I got a feeling I pirated it. I might not have, but I just back in the old days when I used to get up to a lot of illegal activity. Um,
Everyone in Wales just does like illegal activities anyway. It's just
yeah, I
part
got
of the
I got
part
I
of
got a
the
funny
nationality.
story about that, but I'm not going to go into it on the podcast for fear of being caught. But I'll tell you about it off air. But
Okay.
yeah, I can actually remember that game. It's quite good. I can remember the rope swinging. No, not the rope swinging. The web
Web
swinging
swinging.
mechanics were pretty good in the game, and this was at the time when I think it was like 2003.
Yeah, yes.
Back
Yeah.
when,
The Spider-Man
yeah,
games actually had really nice web spinning from a
yeah.
very early on. Like they got it nailed. And like but apart from that, now there's not really been any evolution in it. Like compared to the Batman games, the Arkham series,
I
like
want to play that. I've never.
holy crap! Like the I've only played the first one, and I haven't played it that long, because they were my girlfriends at the times. So so she was like, "Oh no, I'll play it." It's like, okay, play Batman. I'll just play Pokemon in my corner then. And but that is like literally, it was dark, it was gritty, it was brutal, but like it was Batman basically. It was exactly what the films were.
Yeah.
Or it was very similar. The dark Batman who beat up shit because he can, and because justice.
Whenever we say Batman in this podcast, I think we have to do the Batman voice.
Batman.
Batman.
But there are some like really terrible Batman games out there.
Oh my god, we started our own internet meme. Yeah, just to bring things back now, 'cause we've gone from Middle Earth and Lord of the Rings to Spider-Man to Batman.
Well, technically they are still movie licenses. We haven't got
Yeah.
that far off, to be
No,
honest.
that's not too bad. I'm just gonna say, have you ever played any of the Lego games?
Yeah, I've played them all.
I've
All right.
played the
I
Hobbit.
think the Lego games are one of the. I haven't played the Lego Hobbit, but the Lego games are some of the best
Yeah.
use of their franchise whenever they've been given the license. Best use
Yeah.
of the license, right? Because every single one that I've played has been fantastic and a lot of fun, especially with co-op play. You have to play the Lego games co-op.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And the Lego Star Wars, when it started, was absolutely fantastic. The Pirates of the Caribbean ones were really good. The Marvel ones were good. The Batman ones were good. The Harry Potter ones are fantastic.
The Lord of the Rings.
The Lord of the Rings one was so good, and I really like. A lot of people were like kind of had mixed feelings on whether they should have used the should have kept it silence like
Yeah.
the rest of the Lego games before, or use the movie speech. And I think that it was good to have the movie speech. I really like that. So, but yeah, no, it was a fantastic. I absolutely adored Lord of the Rings.
I mean, I've got the Lego Hobbit game on PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
That's a very good game. I am a little bit disappointed with it. It's not really a big disappointment. I'm probably nitpicking, but from the films, they do use the actual voice actors and the actual scripts and stuff, but they do change some of the stuff. Like, for example, you know when they are in Bilbo's house in the first film,
Yeah.
and they do the song, Misty Mountain song.
Yeah.
They changed that and they put some generic song in its place.
Well, maybe they didn't have the license for the song.
That's right. That's what I think it was, because it was every time there was like a soundtrack that was supposed to be from the film, They changed it up. They did it with the icy fire at the end of the game. They had something else, and then when they throw in all the plates around and they go in, that's what Bilbo Baggins takes. They changed that to like a kind of Celtic sounding flute.
It's probably something to do with the licenses and not having the full license for like the soundtrack or something.
Yeah, I mean it's not really a big issue, but it just
it does break immersion a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what it did for me.
I think that's one of the personally something like that for me is quite an issue with some licensed games. Like I think that if you're going to have the license, you should just get all of it.
Just do it properly,
not like it's not a half-assed job because maybe they didn't have the license, so they can't really, they did the best with what they had.
Yeah.
But I think that's a problem with the actual person who owns the license. I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a bit. It's sad when that happens because when you look at things like Lego Star Wars, like all the music was there as well, and that just made it so much more awesome.
Yeah. Seeing as you mentioned Star Wars, what Star Wars games have you played?
I've played the best of all the Star Wars games, Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Hell yeah, definitely.
Which is so good, and I'm so looking forward to the new Battlefront.
Oh, me, I can't wait.
But I've also played things like The Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
I've played quite a few of them, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I played the one on PS1, which I can never remember the name. I think it was Jedi Knight, but I can't remember.
Oh, Jedi Knight, Jedi Power Battles.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that was a good game. It was all right.
It was all right for the time. I was young. It was good when I was young.
Yeah, I think I went back to it a few years later and I thought, I can't believe I enjoyed this shit. But it's one of those games which age doesn't do it justice. I mean,
no, that's true. At the time, it's like when you play the original. I don't know. The original Tomb Raider probably isn't the best one to use. But
no, it's definitely not.
No, because that still holds up loads. I don't know. I can't think of I can't think of an example. Fuck. But most of the things when you play it back in the day, like when you're really young, you're like, oh my god, this is fucking amazing. And then when you're like older, you're like, yeah, this has so many flaws actually. Yeah. I didn't realize this was a bug and not an actual feature.
There are some games though, and I think Battlefront 2 is probably a good example where you can play that on PC right now. I played it the other day. I know you played it a few weeks ago because you uploaded a video, and it's just one of those games that just doesn't disappoint. No, even though it's like, I think it was 2006 it was released, around about then.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's what, 6, 7, 8 years old.
It's almost 10 years old. Yeah.
Almost 10 years old. Yeah, it's like Rome. It's like Rome Total War.
Yeah, it is like Rome Total War.
Graphics might not quite be there to today's standards, but the gameplay is very solid, and you can get hours and hours of enjoyment.
Fun. Yeah, I know. Battlefront 2 has to be one of the games that me and my brother, when we're together, and we both got on the PS2, we're like, do you want to play some Battlefront? Yeah, sure. And we'll just spend like a few hours on that, just doing some either versus or co-op. Just battles or skirmishes against the AI, shooting people in the head, getting our heroes out and battling Darth Maul versus Luke Skywalker or fucking something like that.
I always used to like going on the Kashyyyk level, and I always used to go on top of those little huts they had and get a sniper rifle and just shoot them as they come off the beachhead.
My favorite map has to be Mos Eisley. That is by far. I just love it because it's a city map in its own right, and it's just so street fighting, and it's great. And then you've got like Dark Troopers with their jetpacks who just fucking like, fuck it, street fighting, what's this? And just fly overhead and just zap you, and it's like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of the licensed games done right, and I really hope that EA and DICE manage to do it right as well, and just get all that we love and with updates and better. I think one of the things that Battlefront 2 lacked was a first-person mode. Well, like, you could go first-person, but it didn't look any good and it didn't feel right, and everyone played it in third-person. I think DICE will be able to make both of them work. I think that'll be great.
I think my only fear with it is that they're going to DLC hoard, because don't forget Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 were released, like we said, nearly 10 years ago. Yeah. And back then, DLC wasn't really a thing, was it? I mean,
it was expansions.
It was expansions, wasn't it? Which were released like a year or two after release, once the game had already been out for a few years. Whereas now, we live in an age, especially with games like Battlefront 4 and Call of Duty and all the other crap that you can play with
weapon skins.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to buy Stormtrooper armor for 50 pence? Do you want to buy a blood pack for £1? Yeah. Buy an Ewok for £2?
An Ewok battle buddy to go in your. Oh my god.
Players are.
Yeah, I really hope. I know. I really hope that most of the core game won't be too bad. Because I mean, With the Battlefield series, there wasn't that much. Oh, I don't know. I haven't really played or looked really close, but I don't think there was that much DLC. So I'm hoping
No, I think with
because they had
Battle.
like
Go on.
Battlefield has its own like it had expansions or DLC in that case, but it didn't have like a lot of really small DLCs.
No.
It's mostly Activision that does that a lot. EA
Yeah.
does it with Sims, but most of the time the actual gameplay, the expansions and the DLC does bring quite a lot to the game, although there's a
Yeah.
lot of it. But I'm hoping maybe that it won't be as bad. Well, we'll see. It's something that will be we'll have to see.
Yeah. I think the thing with Battlefield, I think they do use a lot of DLC, but I think because the release of the latest Battlefield was so shit, they actually
Oh, it was
yeah, they
free.
postponed, didn't they, the DLC, and they actually I think it was the chief executive or the whatever the hell the person was, the high up dude.
Yeah,
He basically came out and said, "Look, we're not going to be releasing any DLC until we fix this shit." So
yeah.
I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but
No, he definitely said that. I was there.
yeah, you're my witness. While we're on the topic of Star Wars, I think we should talk about The Force Unleashed
Yeah,
because there's two games released and there was supposed to be a third one which was never released. And since then, Disney have of course
yeah.
bought the Star Wars franchise, so it's probably worth talking about that for a few minutes. So you've played The Force Unleashed.
I've
What
only
did you
played the
think?
first one. I didn't play the second one.
Ah, right. So what do you think of the first one?
The first one was good.
It was
It
good,
was
yeah.
really fun, really good, and it was just brutal.
Oh yeah,
It's
definitely.
great.
I mean, who wouldn't want to play as Darth Vader's apprentice and just fuck shit up?
I know, right?
Red
So good. And
lightsaber.
just throw like clones off and stormtroopers off everywhere. It's like fuck it, get off,
But
go, force everywhere.
that was one of the best things about the game, that the physics system was so
Yeah,
strong.
definitely.
Although it did glitch out a few times, you'd have like,
Yeah,
the stormtrooper just appear on the screen just out of nowhere, and there are some funny glitch videos of Force Unleashed on YouTube. I've played the second one, the Force Unleashed 2,
yeah.
and if I'm being totally honest, it was a bit cringeworthy as far as the story's concerned. Because basically, and this is a spoiler for anybody that's never played these games, so if you don't want to be spoiled, then mute the video.
We'll wave. Wait, what?
Yeah, okay. Basically, Starkiller, who's the main character, he's Darth Vader's apprentice. He dies at the end of the first game, as far as the canon ending is concerned, because there's a couple of different endings. And he gets cloned in the second game, so you're not sure if you're actually Starkiller or you're his clone, because it doesn't really say. It kind of leaves it as a mystery. But then the clone, or the actual Starkiller that you are, kind of goes on this crusade to kill Darth Vader, because he remembers Juno, who was his love interest from the first game. And he's like, oh yes, I like Juno. I must find Juno. And then you have like 4 to 5 levels, or big levels, where you do the same thing from the first game. You defeat a few bosses. I think you're in a sand pit on the one level and you kill this big giant like lizard thing. And basically you get to the 5th or 6th level. You confront Darth Vader. You fight him on Camino, where if you're not a Star Wars fan, it's where they do all the cloning and shit. And Juno's there. It looks like she's about to die. You kill Darth Vader. No, sorry. You go to strike Darth Vader down in the canon ending, but you decide against it because that leads to the dark side, which of course happens in every single Star Wars game. and then basically Darth Vader gets arrested. He gets taken and flown away, and that's basically the end of the game. So Darth Vader's arrested. You're alive, but you're not sure if you're the clone or if you're the real one, and you're back shacked up with your bird, basically. and that's the ending.
Story
of the
mode, everyone.
but like I said, it was like 5 to 6 levels. It was
Yeah.
so fast that you could blink and you'd miss it.
Yeah.
It was poorly done. I think it was rushed.
Yeah, I think that's one of the issues about licensed games, and it's movie licenses mostly. Sometimes you got the easy way, you follow the story of the film. Sometimes they just go on this massive tangent, and it's like, what the hell are you doing? And I think the issue, I don't know if it's an issue with Star Wars games, but the great thing I think is that you have a lot of freedom with the story as long as you use the lore and you make it so that it's not lore unfriendly. You can do pretty much what you want with it, which is great. However, it does lead to things like Force Unleashed 2, and I think most story is quite hard for developers, especially back in the early 2000s, probably mid 2000 up to 2010. Like, story modes weren't that good. There weren't a lot of good stories out there. It took a while, I think, for games to get really good stories that weren't movie stories.
Yeah.
Because things like, I don't know, there's a few good games out there with amazing story, especially lately. Things like, if you've ever played Thomas Was Alone, that was really good.
I never played it, no.
Oh, it's a very tiny platformer with amazing story.
Pick it up cheaply on Steam.
Yeah, you can pick it up really cheaply on Steam. And other things like, what's it called? Spec Ops: The Line. It's a fantastic story. Anyway, that's moving on from licensed games. So.
Yeah, so I think there's one more game I want to talk about since we mentioned Star Wars and stories. Did you ever play Knights of the Old Republic?
I did not. I've seen gameplay, and one of my friends plays it a buttload and never stops talking about it. But
yeah,
but yeah, it's a pretty good game from what I've seen. Gameplay-wise.
I think it's one of those games that there's no middle ground. You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it personally. The story's really good. It's one of the best original kind of stories for a franchise game, in my opinion. But the gameplay was MMO kind of gameplay, basically.
Yeah.
It's it's you kind of click on the thing and then you'll shoot rather than actually controlling the character physically, like you would in most modern games. So the gameplay, especially now, because that was released in 2003, it's a bit laggy. I have it on PC. I bought it last year, and it lagged a bit on the PC, and it shouldn't because the PC
my friend Matt actually had to mod the game to be able to play it in widescreen. Apparently.
Yeah, I think I'd have it in windowed mode. I had to fiddle around with a few things, but it's a very good game. As far as the story is concerned. I think what they did with Star Wars, they released the Old Republic, didn't they?
Yeah.
Was that 3 years ago, 4 years ago? Which it's a funny story. I never really played MMOs online, and the kind of the subscription thing kind of put me off.
Yeah.
I actually bought the Old Republic, paid for a monthly subscription. This was back about 3 years ago now. Played it for about 2 months, thought it was fantastic. The story was good, the choices you could have, the whole kind of sandbox thing. And then they went and announced that it's going to be free to play. I was like, fuck, I just wasted like a few months worth of money, and I actually bought the game as well, so...
Oh my god, that's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the same thing that's kind of happening right now with Elder Scrolls Online, because that's going free to play.
Oh, yeah. That is something which I would love to see a film of, the Elder Scrolls.
Oh my god, I don't know what they... Like, literally, they could not make a film. They would have to pick one of the thing about Elder Scrolls is that it has such a vast timeline with so many events. You'd have to pick one tiny event and make or just do the Elder Scrolls and just have it a fucking series of 25 billion films, which I would be okay with if they did it right.
Yeah, so guys, if you're watching
this... They did it Game of Thrones wise, that'd be fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I was going to say, guys, if you're watching this, definitely sign an e-petition to get them to make a TV series for the Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, TV series would work, I think. Game of Thrones wise. Like films, maybe not. Unless they did several films on... They could do it series, and at the end of series, you get a film, you finish it on a proper 2-3 hour long film about the big events.
Yeah.
And have series about a lot of smaller, I'm going to say smaller events. But because if you take just Skyrim, you can have the Civil War as being the series, because there's so much shit going on. And then have the coming of the Dragonborn as the film.
That'd be pretty good, because off the top of my head, there aren't that many TV series that have a big, strong kind of mythical sort of dragon and the whole kind of magic.
Apart from Game of Thrones, yeah.
Well, Game of Thrones, yeah. I mean, that's the obvious choice.
Yeah.
But with the dragons in Game of Thrones,
I think doing it in a sort of series for continuous events like Civil War for Skyrim. This is my example, so I'm going to keep it. And then a film, Dragonborn coming is such a good way of building up shit, because that's what a lot of animes do, and things like Pokemon. Like Pokemon has the series, and then once they're finished the series or for an epic long episode, they do a film.
Yeah.
Which is a great way to either end a series on a big film. That's what Family Guy did a few times when they did their Star Wars films.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Yeah, because that was, you end the series on a fucking massive film, which is great, because it's this is a finale. This is a finale.
It's the way it should be done.
Yeah. Anyway, right, let's move on from movies.
Yeah.
And move on to sports.
Sports.
This won't take too long.
No.
Sports licensed games. Things like FIFA.
Oh, yeah.
Madden, NFL, or whatever American EA Sports things.
Okay, can I start?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome, right. FIFA and Pro Evolution Soccer, we did touch upon them.
We did, yeah.
A few episodes back, I think, didn't we? So I'm not going to take up too much time. But basically, FIFA, and Pro Evolution Soccer, they've been going on for years. Pro Evolution Soccer was on the old PlayStation 1, but it wasn't called Pro Evolution Soccer. It was called ISS Pro Evolution, which is International Superstar Soccer. And then FIFA was, I think it was like FIFA 96, FIFA 97.
Yeah.
But it had a really cool indoor football mode, which was like five-a-side, which is one of the things they actually do for charity now on the old Masters football thing they do for they get like retired footballers like Eric Cantona and people like that, and they kind of took that idea, and anyway, it was very good. There was lots of different options. All the graphics were shit and the gameplay was a bit shoddy, but apart from that, it was really good. But Pro Evolution Soccer, from that point until sort of 2 to 3 years ago, was always lagging behind, and the reason for that is the licenses, because FIFA, being the big money bag scums that they are, basically bought out most of the licenses. So they got all the Premier League, Football League, German League, French League, Italian League, Spanish League, and all the international teams. Well, most of the international teams. And loads of others. Okay, they basically bought the whole monopoly. Whereas Pro Evolution Soccer, you had better gameplay, but you had to actually mod or edit the badges, the kits.
Yeah.
And I used to spend hours upon hours in my Master League campaigns editing the Cardiff City badge and the sponsors and all that crap, and it would take forever, but I did it because I don't mind like editing and stuff. Like you know, people who know me know I'd like to do thumbnails and shit, so it doesn't really. But you know, for the average person, that's just so impatient to to actually when you play a game, want to play it rather than think about the shit. But anyway, the last few years, Pro Evolution Soccer went downhill. The gameplay was shit when they went to next gen. FIFA hasn't changed really in the past 3 to 4 years. I still enjoy it. I mean, I'm doing a few series on it now. Yeah. That's only because I've got back into it recently. But yeah, as far as licenses go, it's just the pendulum has swung way towards the one franchise and not towards the other. And basically, I just think that licensing, especially when you've got two franchises competing, which happens quite a lot in sport games. And it sort of happens with other games like I don't know, first-person shooters tend to have, well, not so much first-person shooters because you're not really, the only licenses really is like the movie or the TV series. But yeah, that's kind of my point on the sport thing with football, at least.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, which is better though, having two competitors with like, I don't know. It's weird because you have the license, but can you really give the same license to two different games? In the end, they might be similar. Or is it better to have one game which has every single license and one with none, or one game that has half the license and the other game that has the other half?
Yeah.
Well, so basically, like FIFA, like the EA Sports FIFA could have only the I don't know, the Europe, like the Americas leagues and South Americas and stuff like that, and then the Pro Evolution Soccer could have like all the Europes and all the Asian ones. I don't know.
Yeah.
Split off like that. Would that be better?
I don't know. I mean,
it's hard, isn't it? Like I think, like the thing is, if both had the same licenses, then you'd end up with two games which are exactly the same, or I don't know. It completely depends on how. I think then, yeah, maybe the gameplay would be more focused on the actual gameplay rather than aesthetics.
The thing which annoys me is that the gameplay has gone downhill with Pro Evolution Soccer, and the licenses aren't really there.
Yeah.
So you're missing out on two things. And FIFA, you've got the licenses, but the gameplay hasn't changed in like 4 or 5 years. So you're basically playing the same game every year, and that's not just a FIFA thing. That tends to happen.
Well, it's hard. It's really hard to reinvigorate a sporting game, though.
Yeah, I think that's the point. I mean, a multi-franchise game. It's like same with the WWE games. I used to play them all the time back in the day. But
apart from updating the squad rosters, the amount of fighters in a WWE game, or the squads in a football game, or the tennis players in a tennis game, or something like that. There's not really much you can do. Like there is stuff like new game modes are really fun. Different kinds of like tutorials, or the way that I know EA did it was by doing the that you could buy packs of players and
Ultimate Team.
Ultimate Team, that's it. And I know they recently put that into the hockey this year. There's a big controversy over the hockey because they actually removed like 4 or 5 game modes, including one that's been there since the very beginning, to put in Ultimate Hockey Team.
Do you think it's fair that EA got a monopoly on all these franchises? They've got Madden, FIFA, hockey. They got loads.
Yeah, it is them that has most of it. But I think EA Sports was there from a very early point on.
Yeah.
And they haven't, to be fair on them, they haven't botched very often. They've always put out very I'm not going to say really good games, but they've put out
Yeah.
decent games regularly. Like sometimes they botch, sometimes they do fail on their games. Like hockey last year, and I know that they've botched on on Madden as well a few years ago.
Yeah.
But they most of the time you buy a FIFA game, you know that the quality is going to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know that it's not going to be amazing, but it's not going to be shit. It's not going to be Pro Evolution.
Yeah.
So it's a hard way to. You can't argue for them because Monopoly isn't really a good thing, but you can't argue against them because they're doing a decent job of what they do.
Yeah.
But it's hard. I mean, it is hard for them as well. Well, I say it's hard for them. They're making loads of money, but it's hard to find a way to reinvigorate a sporting game apart from adding new and more game modes or different ways of doing your career mode or things
I've
like
actually
that.
got a good idea for it though. They could add in something, I don't know, something a bit crazy like
They should add in women.
Oh yeah, they could have. Well, actually, no, that's a very good point because at the end of the day, football is a universal game.
Yeah, it is. They should just add women.
Played around the world, different races, different sexes. The women's game is getting promoted quite a lot recently.
Yeah.
You see a lot more people attend women's games. It's on the BBC. I think the Women's FA Cup finals on the BBC every year. So yeah, why not? I mean, I'm pretty sure I came up with I read an article a few months ago. There's actually a woman footballer that's playing in the men's league in like Division 3 in like Colombia or something. She's actually got like a
sex change to do it.
No, not well. I don't know, but she basically had clearance to participate, and she's actually not a bad footballer as well.
Well, no, obviously,
Yeah.
she's a pro footballer. She can't be that bad.
It's Division 3, man. So
it's still professional enough.
Well, yeah.
Still making money for it. So there we go.
It's a good idea though.
I think I don't know if they reinvigorated, added. I don't know. I think with the move to next gen, the fact that they can put more stuff into the game, I think that would really help. And maybe change it so you can have a career mode literally anywhere. Because I know, especially, I don't know. I haven't really played that many FIFA games. I had a few FIFA games really long ago, and my dad bought FIFA 14 for the Wii, which was really interesting. But it was, I don't know. It seems like it's very focused on the European and the world stage, mostly clubs and career modes and all that. You can only really do in a European club.
Yeah, you're right.
In Europe, and then there's always all the clubs for a global, for a World or a Euro Cup or America's Cup or whatever. But there's never really a cup. There's never really a career mode if you want to play in a South African team or a team in any African nation, really. That will take that long. And I'm pretty sure that in Africa, football is one of the most played sports there. And
it is, yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's quite a few, there may not be that many leagues, but you could still do a career mode there and end up, from Africa and being on the African team or whatever. Doing your stuff. I don't know, I think that they've kind of kept it linked on Europe and things like that because, I don't know, European people are the people who spend the most money on it. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. It's strange. But that and women footballers, I think would be good. I know that a lot of football fans out there think that women footballers, especially my housemate, he thinks he's a right sexist. No, he's not, but he thinks that women football is completely terrible and trash compared to men's football, which is his opinion. But I think that it's equality, a step towards equality.
It is.
It's gonna be good.
I think a referee mode would be good as well.
A referee mode would be fantastic.
Play as a referee.
You could really fuck someone up, or you could
online as well. Can you imagine that?
Oh my, if you have the two sides just fighting, and then you've got a third person spectating, but as the referee.
I would love to do that. Can you imagine it? You've got
that would be fantastic.
You've got 2 or 3 raging 14-year-olds on Team A. You've got the same on Team B. They got the mic chat on so you can hear them. And you just got some random person that spawned in on the server just to be the referee. You can just fuck them up completely. It adds so much to the game, that would.
Who's that Welsh referee who's just fucking fantastic for rugby? Is it?
I
want to say Nigel Jones, but I think that's wrong.
Nigel Owens,
that's the one. Yeah. Imagine if it was him. It's you're being really immature.
Oh, he's awesome.
He's a legend. He's the best referee.
That's one of the things I love with rugby, the fact that you can actually hear the referees. In football, you can't.
I think they did have a debate to do that.
Yeah.
And I also think there was a big debate actually recently on a football match that the referee there should be another referee that all the referees vote on the referee's decision to disallow goals.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like, you're a retard.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
Yeah, so I think that's probably FIFA and Pro Evolution Soccer covered.
Yeah, the thing is, there was a third one. Just before we finish, there was a third game, the one that I played, called This Is Football.
I played that as well.
I played the last one, which was This Is Football 2004.
I played that.
And that was the last one they made, and that was the third competitor. And it although it didn't have all the licenses, it did have a few.
Yeah.
And it did a really good job for what it had, to be fair. And it was one of the football games that I still play, because it's the one I have, and it's really enjoyable. The gameplay's alright. The licenses are meh. They don't have Arsenal, which is great because they call it Highbury, which is just so funny. And but it's a fun.
Yeah. That was a fantastic game. I can remember they had a dedicated dive button.
Yes, they did.
They were like the first FIFA game.
Yeah.
The first football game. Sorry, that actually had a dive button.
Yeah, that had a dive button. It was fucking great. Just spamming that. And my brother was always like, "Oh, you dives!" Like, I don't care. I've got the ball now. Players just got sent off. No, yeah, but I think it's hard. Yeah, when you lose, yeah, if it remained 3, it would have been more interesting. But now that it's just Pro Evolution Soccer and FIFA, and Pro Evolution Soccer has kind of died.
Yeah, there's Football Manager as well on PC.
Football Manager isn't really the same though, is it?
No, it's just databases after databases.
Yeah, it can be really fun. People really enjoy that. But
I enjoy it as well, but mainly because of the modding. Because I think the last time I played it was 2013. And basically, I downloaded this mod that you could play. Like your local village team.
Yeah.
You could play as your local village team.
Oh man,
they actually unlocked all of the leagues in the English Football League system, the Welsh Football League system.
Awesome.
So you could actually play as where the village that I'm from is actually called Trelewis. So you could actually play as Trelewis FC.
That's awesome.
But you don't have a proper badge or anything. You've got the proper colour kit, and that's about it. You haven't got the proper players because they're all like new gen players. They've just been generated and spawned in.
Yeah.
It's really easy to play as though because there's no proper players in that league, so you can just buy 1 or 2 half decent rejects from another club, and you've basically won the league. But it is really fun to play and try and see how far you can get them in the career mode.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds really awesome. To be fair, it's
but
great, because that's the thing that what FIFA's missing. It's like big clubs. There we go.
Yeah,
big clubs, big teams. Full stop. No smaller ones.
Yeah,
because that's what This Is Football had a nice career mode where you started off as a school club.
Yeah, I remember
and then
that.
you went up to first division, second division, and whatever, doing your shit. Well, I played the French mode, obviously, but like you started off with the shitty leagues and then go up to Premier, and it was great.
Yeah,
but yeah. Anyway, enough about sports.
Yeah, we probably bored everyone.
Yeah, it was all fucking football. Fucking shit games. So I want to move on to table and board game licenses, things like Monopoly, or in my one, it's the big one that I want to talk about is Games Workshop and Warhammer.
Okay, yeah.
Because back in the day, Games Workshop, the person in charge of the marketing was very not anti-gaming, but he was very reluctant to give away the license to do games, and he gave it to this company called Relic, who made Dawn of War.
I remember, yeah.
Relic. And they did a fantastic job. And THQ at the time, Relic's publisher, kept that license up until it died. So you had the 2 Dawn of War games and their expansions, and you also had Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine, which was a fantastic third-person hack and slash. And now that THQ's dead, the old marketing guy is gone. He retired, he's old man, and a new person's in, and this person's just whoring out the license left, right, and centre, and you have tons upon tons of new Warhammer 40,000 mobile games and shitty ports from mobile to PC. You've got terrible license usage, and you're just like, what happened? What happened? We had things like Dawn of War, Game of the Year 2005, and now we've got this shit. It's fucking ridiculous, and like a lot of people are really unhappy about this. And although there are still some publishers out there who make an amazing one, I mean, think they gave them out to not indie developers but smaller developers, which I think is good because that means you can release your potential.
Yeah.
But sometimes they just botch it so hard, and you think, why? You're just shitting all over our lore.
Yeah.
And you're just really unhappy because there's a Warhammer 40,000 MMO coming out called Eternal Crusade, which looks fantastic, and they're people who love the lore and the genre, and who can make something amazing out of it, and everyone's looking forward to that. And then there are people who are making very niche games, things like hex-based strategy games, which are really niche but are really well done. And then you've got the mobile games who are making line defense games with Warhammer.
You know, Warhammer, isn't there going to be a Total War Warhammer?
Yes, I am so looking for. I'm so happy that. Firstly, Games Workshop are whoring out their license, so it's almost not surprised. But I'm so happy that Sega and Creative Assembly are making it.
Yeah,
because a Total War Warhammer has always been something that everyone's like, oh, I was so looking forward to it. I'm just so happy. Because obviously, because Sega now also own Relic will be able to help out CA with doing this, because they've got experience in the whole Warhammer genre, so they've got people who know the lore on the team. So they'll be able to really help them out. It's not this, obviously Warhammer isn't Warhammer 40,000, so it's a more fantasy setting. But I am so looking forward to seeing how they do that game. So because there was a Warhammer mod for Medieval 2.
I remember, yeah.
Which I was talking about last week because we missed last week, but 2 weeks ago. and that was really good. So I'm hoping it'll be something similar. I'm just so excited. I'm just so excited. If they put some like Warhammer, I don't know. Fuck it. I'm stopping talking because I'm just so excited right now.
Yeah, Lord Rexor's got a boner right now, folks.
I have several boners. That's
there was a good Warhammer mod for Mount and Blade Warband. That was pretty cool. You could play as is it Craven or Skaven or
Skaven?
Skaven.
There are some really good ones out there. Did you ever play XCOM?
No, I never played it.
Okay. Well, for those of you who did play XCOM, there's a game called Mordheim on Steam right now, which is in early access. And there's Mordheim is a Games Workshop game based on the fantasy universe, where you have a team of you have a team of people versus a team of others, and the way that it works is very XCOM based. So you have a sort of, not a grid, but an area of movement points and then attack, and you can do a certain amount of actions per turn.
Yeah.
And oh my god, it's in early access and it only has 3 playable factions so far, but it looks so good, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes.
Wow.
Because there are some people who are really using the license to full effect, and there are some who are just mobile gaming it.
Oh,
who wants to play a line defense?
Mobile games are
honestly,
shit.
it's stupid. With Warhammer!
I've actually played the Shogun 2 mobile game, Shogun 2 Battles on my tablet.
Yeah.
It's fucking shit.
I'm not surprised. It's a mobile game.
I mean, it's a cheap game. It's like £1.50 or £2. So it's not breaking the bank. But
no.
I thought, I haven't got any games on my Nexus 7. Let's have a look what they got in the store. Oh, look, Total War. So I bought it. I thought, okay, we'll try this out. And then basically you're just moving 3 actual characters. That's all you control. So rather than a whole army like you expect on the Total War franchise, you've got 3 characters, like a warrior, an archer, and a shield maiden or some bullshit like that. And you basically, it's like a hex kind of thing where you move them to one square and hit the attack button, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as mobile games are concerned, not that much of a fan. Also, while we're on the topic of table board strategies and stuff, and games like Scrabble, back in my illegal days of gaming.
We're back there, are we?
We're back in the dark ages of my life. When I was about 8. I'm like the youngest criminal ever. Back. That's right. Illegal. That's right. Just trying to think when it was. I used to play a game on the PS1, The Weakest Link. Yeah. Which is based, of course, on the Weakest Link show. Now that's pretty good. That was a pretty good game. Although Anne Robinson's face was all fucked up. But that was really enjoyable.
Is that not her face usually? Well,
no, I think it's because all the polygons and all that shit wasn't as advanced. Yeah, it's PS1, so she had a triangle nose and a bonked up eye and ginger. Well, no, I think her hair was ginger. It was black or something. They didn't even have the hair color right. God. But what I always remember from that game was the contestants that were on there. They just had a bunch of random voice actors that did these contestants, and they gave them the shittest lines ever. They basically had to audition for the different characters in the game for the voice acting, and they had to say stupid lines and be made to look thick as shit.
Yeah.
which I think is a pretty funny thing for a voice actor in a video game. You're basically being employed just to be thick. And then Anne Robertson does her whole, "You are the weakest link, goodbye." And then they walk off from the stage. But because the graphics were shit, it looks like they shit themselves the way they walk. It's quite funny.
I like, yeah. No, if we go stay on that, like, firstly, Scrabble.
Yeah.
My grandmother actually plays very regularly, almost every night, Scrabble on her computer.
Holy shit.
So she's a dedicated gamer. My
Wow.
grandmother is a dedicated gamer.
Fuck yeah.
And there's also that's good. But I think that's it's hard to really botch up a board game like Scrabble. To be fair, though.
Yeah.
To be fair. But things like Weakest Link, game shows, things like Weakest Link. There's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah, I played that one back in the illegal days as well.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
pretty good.
it's nice. I mean, it's great because you get to pretend like you're actually there in the game show, and it's really nice to have them. And I know on the PlayStation, I know Sony have their game called Buzz.
Oh, I remember. Yeah,
which
I know.
is really fun. And that's a nice.
But that's like the last one because there's been nothing on next gen, is there?
Not yet. No, not
as far as I'm
really.
aware, which is strange because, like you mentioned about niche markets now.
Yeah, because I mean, like apart from the Wii U, like the other two consoles don't have any family entertainment games, do they? Really?
No, I suppose you're
Which
right.
is kind of, especially since Xbox was going, the Xbox One was really like, oh yes, we're a family home entertainment system.
Yes, we have the Kinect.
Shut up, you're idiots. You're not even doing any family-friendly shit.
Yeah,
and with like Wii U has got all its is Wii Sports and shit like that for the Wii U now and everything. So it's got all its family stuff. It's got Nintendo Land and other things that are really nice and happy and family orientated. And it's got its good games like Smash Brothers and all this stuff if you want to just, not do stuff in a family. But the other games aren't, and that's pretty much a shame. But it's good to have those table and board games to play with your family as licenses. And I think it's a good thing to have. Although there are some licenses out there which kind of don't do a very good job of it. So I think there are some licenses that need to be done as well. I think that a Risk game online, not online, but even online would be good. But generally, a Risk board game would be fantastic.
Yeah. While we're on the topics, sorry.
Yeah, no, carry on.
I was just going to say, while we're on the topics of Nintendo and board games, have you ever played Mario Party?
Yes. That's
a pretty good game,
isn't it?
That's
a really good game. Really good game.
Really addictive.
Yeah, definitely. It's just nice to be able to play it with your family,
Yeah.
And like it's so fun, and it's so silly, but like it's a game I can play with my grandmother, and she'll be happy and enjoy playing it.
Wish I had a grandmother to play PlayStation with me.
My granddad actually, we did a duel on Guitar Hero.
Did he?
Yeah, me and him.
Oh my god.
It was good. Obviously, he didn't do amazing, but he did pretty good considering.
That's another license that's gone down the swan though as well.
Well, they stopped it after Guitars of Hero Wars of Rock, because it's the whole music that the whole, like even Rock Band has stopped as well because it's just it's no longer a game that people play.
It's a shame.
Which is a shame. I mean, I'm assuming there's going to be a comeback in the 5 years or so.
Yeah, I hope so. I think
Yeah, me and there's a funny story about that actually because in November there was a fun fair down in my town where I am, and me and my friend went down just to have a look, and we weren't planning to spend any money. We were just looking around to have a nice not evening but afternoon, and after eating, just go down and see what's what. And there was an arcade that had Guitar Hero. Wow. So we just put a coin in, and we both played a song on guitar, and it was great.
Yeah. So. Yes, it's a shame. A lot of things like that. I mean, we mentioned the board games. That's kind of just on the Wii so much now, not really on the big consoles. And then the same with Guitar Hero, you don't even get that at all on any of the consoles.
No, you don't. Yeah, which is kind of why I still have my. Well, on the Wii, I still have it, and we're probably going to keep it for a while because we've got Guitar Hero on the Wii, and it's great. It's like the graphics aren't good, but it's all about the gameplay, and it's a loss to be honest. But yeah, but there are some good. I think most of the licensed games about board games are really much on the Wii, aren't they? like most of them.
I think so. I think the Wii is
That
kind
and
of
mobile games.
yeah. I think the Wii has kind of gone out for that kind of market, whereas the consoles are like, no, we want to play
Yeah,
Call of Duty.
they're going more. We all hardcore gamers love us, and it's like PCs here. You know,
PC Master Race. Fuck yeah.
we're PC. We have all your games.
Yeah, well, not all of them.
No,
we're still waiting.
we've
for
got all the
some.
good ones.
That's one of the things that irritates me with PC. I mean, I like console, I like PC, but one of the things that does really do my tit in is either you can't play the really old games. I'm on about like Spyro the Dragon.
Yeah.
You can't play that on PC.
Yeah.
And then you've also got like GTA 5, which is delayed for like 18 months or so.
Well,
and then
to
it's
be
fine.
fair though, GTA 5. I'm quite happy that they've delayed it because that means, firstly, it means that they care about the game and they want it to not end up like GTA 4.
Yeah.
And secondly, it means they get to put more shit in than there's on the other stuff.
Hopefully.
And maybe they, I don't know. I think they're maybe testing to make sure that the physics are perfect and they can't fuck up. Because on both console versions, the physics were immaculate. Like there's very little things that can break the physics, and
Yeah.
they've really tested the games, making sure that everything's working fine. And I think maybe they might be working to make sure that there's mod support, which would be
Yeah.
really cool.
Oh,
Really
definitely. Yeah. Fucking hell, what's it called? Shit. What's the other game that's like GTA 5 but it's not?
Cool. Saints Row.
Saints Row, that's the one. Hell yeah. The one with the purple dildo.
Yeah.
You can bash
I like how
enemies
that's
over the
the
head.
only thing people remember of that game.
Yeah, the big purple dildo who smash people over the head.
The
That's what
new Saints Row came out as of today, I think. Get Out of Hell. Was
Yeah, I
the
think so.
expansion for it. The standalone expansion.
Because they've got a very good modding community,
They
Saints
got a
Row.
very, fantastic.
Yeah.
They got, to be fair, Saints Row is just a fantastic game as well, to be fair.
Mm,
The thing
yeah.
is, I don't see them both as competitors. I see them as both as completely different games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I would happily buy and play both.
Yeah, because they do this. They do similar.
They have the similar core, but then they go two completely different ways on it.
Yeah, it's like if you want to be kind of light-hearted and fun, play Saints Row. If you want a kind of serious, kind of in the hood, surviving, getting my shit together, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
GTA 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really racist.
I'm sorry if there's any black people watching. Have you got any cocaine? I will pay.
After going for your illegal years, you're now drug addicted.
Yeah, I'm a drug-addicted gamer. Deal with it, bitch.
Okay, let's move on from board and table games and my Warhammer boner. Total Warhammer. So fucking looking forward to it. If they do events for that, let's talk about games licensing their games to other game developers.
Yeah, I think Telltale Games. Probably,
yeah, it's probably that's the only real example I can really think of though.
Yeah, same with me. I mean, we may as well talk about it. Have you played Tales from the Borderlands?
I haven't played it. I've watched it on your channel, which everyone should watch it on his channel.
Fuck yeah. It's okay. I'm gonna be honest. I've never played any of the Borderland games. It never really appealed to me. I knew what it was, but I never played it. It always used to pop up on the Steam best-selling games and stuff. But then Telltale Games said they're going to release it. They released the Game of Thrones. They released Wolf Among Us. They were fantastic games. Walking Dead as well. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to give it a chance. I got some money. I can afford it. I'll buy it. Bought it. I fucking loved it. It was one of the best games I played last year, Tales from the Borderlands. I say best games, only one episode, and we're waiting for the second episode now. But yeah, one of the most enjoyable gaming experiences for last year was with Telltale Games, particularly Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah,
Great.
Yeah.
Anything like
but
that?
but I think it's Telltale's as a company and as a gaming series itself. Whenever they get a license, they do it so much justice and just make it so good. Walking Dead, they just nailed it on the head. I finished the first one last year, and then Wolf Among Us I finished a few weeks ago. Once again, a fantastic use of the license. And I haven't yet played the Game of Thrones one. I'm waiting for my new laptop for that, and I haven't played Tales of Borderlands yet. But holy crap! Like Telltale uses the license perfectly.
They do.
Yeah, it's that whole idea of story and how I think that in recent years people have been focusing more and more and doing a much better job on the stories in things than previously.
that's kind of the point with games, though. I mean, yeah, of course we want the gameplay elements there. Yeah, we want good voice acting and all that shit, and we don't want games to actually not work. We actually want to work, but the story, the narrative, is actually a key
One
point.
of the most important.
It is, and that's one of the things I hated so much with Watch Dogs was because
They had none,
or
they had really shitty one.
The character was fucking retarded. I mean, he walks around with a stupid trench coat and he's like, "They killed my niece. I must get the guy that killed him." And that's what he talks like. He talks like a complete retard. And he's just walking around with a trench coat and a fucking gun. You can't punch anybody because the fucking mechanics don't allow you to punch people.
Oh, did you watch Angry Joe Show's Worst Games of 2014?
I did.
Did you watch it when he's Adrian Pierce is really sad. Look at him pushing his trolley and it's falling over and he can't pick it up. So he just pushes it continuously, feeling sorry for him. I was so laughing so much at that.
Yeah, but that's the thing, If Aiden Pierce had been a decent character and if the story had been spruced up a bit, we could be talking right now about Watch Dogs being a very enjoyable game from last year. But unfortunately, that's not the case.
The thing is, the gameplay itself isn't bad.
No, I mean, it's there. I mean, it works.
The story fucks it up. It just makes it terrible. But there are games, of course, that don't need that much story. Like if we check out Minecraft or Terraria and things that are sandbox that you make your own story in. Things like Skyrim. Skyrim has story, but you choose where to go with it.
Yeah. And exactly.
It's like you choose oh right, I can choose to do between Civil War or the Dragon Ball missions or be an assassin and all that, and I can choose which one I do first and in what order and how I do it. It's great. I think that's good because the story itself, of course, an Elder Scrolls game. I don't know. I can't really say that the Elder Scrolls because it's just so good. They always make the story element like the number one thing that they prioritize, make the lore fantastic, and then gameplay, which in this case, Elder Scrolls is fantastic as well.
Oh yeah.
But there are games like Spec Ops: The Line where the gameplay is standard. It's a third-person cover shooter, which does it very well. And then the story brings it to a whole new level of awesomeness. Just because the story immerses you so much, you want to keep playing, you want to do well, and you want to just go right until the end. And Spec Ops: The Line had me gripped right until the end.
Yeah.
It was good.
I never played it.
Oh, you should. It is literally probably my number 1 or 2 game that I'd recommend to anyone.
It's mad because this podcast, I think, it's been 5 or 6 games I haven't played, and then it's been 5 or 6 games that I've talked about that you haven't played.
Yeah,
it's just been like, have you played it? Nope.
No, that's what the gamer community is, though. There's so many games, so little time.
Exactly. I know.
So what you're doing, guys? You better be watching this podcast and gaming at the same time, because if you're not, you're wasting it. No, you're not. Thank you for watching the podcast. We really love you. Please leave a like.
Please subscribe, bitches.
Maybe not subscribe bitches, but subscribe generally.
Oh, sorry, I was talking in my black culture voice again.
Oh, it's all right. We know it's a problem we're sorting out.
Yeah, a bit more cocaine, I'll be fine.
But yeah, no, it's good. I'm good. I really enjoy. I think licensed games, especially Telltale. I can't really think of any other games that license their own games out. I think that's one of the only ones I can really think of.
It probably
there are things examples where all the licenses come together. We were talking about Smash Brothers and the Smash All Stars or whatever for the PlayStation.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Those are really good ways to get all the Sony, all the Nintendo characters together in a really nice way, because people love fighters, and it's a good way to get your friends and play with your mates with your favorite characters beating each other up. But I think Smash does it better because they do.
I think they did it first as well, didn't they? I think 97 or 98.
Melee was the first one, and then Brawl, and then now with 3DS and Wii U.
Yeah.
So good.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a very good game, that is.
Yeah.
One of the best on Nintendo 64, the original one.
Yeah.
I think. Used to play with Pikachu all the time. Just zap everyone with my fucking lightning.
That's how it works.
How it works.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all we have to say, really.
Yeah, I think we've had a pretty good podcast. We've gone through quite a lot, actually, and
spoke a lot about football for all of you who love it. We spoke a lot about my boner and how Warhammer loves it.
Talked a lot about my illegal activities and my cocaine addiction,
which I will be hearing about after the podcast.
Yep, you will.
Okay. So next week, guys, it will be on Dragonhearts channel. It will be about franchises. We'll be talking about a lot of stuff, and if you're lucky and you've been really good, we'll even have a special guest on. So be surprised, be excited. Hopefully he'll be free.
Otherwise, there won't be a guest.
Otherwise there won't be a guest, and you'll be like, ah. But we'll name and shame if he's not on.
And also, before we do finish, if you do want to appear in a future episode, let us know in the comments below, and we will see if we can arrange something.
Yeah, no problem. That'll be good. Usually we record these on either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So if you're free those evenings, then there shouldn't be really any problem.
Yeah.
So there we go. That was this week's podcast on licensed games. We hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Also, go onto Dragonhearts' channel, watch his FIFA stuff, watch his Total War stuff, and whatever.
Whatever.
Comment on all his videos that you like. Two lizards and one cup.
Yeah. And also do the same for Lord Rex, so subscribe to his channel and troll him about his big boner.
Oh my god. But yeah, so thank you very much for joining us. It's goodbye from Dragonheart.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from me. Thank you very much.